Good evening, I am Adventure Argonaut. This is Stafford case. We solved the second case last time, but there's still some, I don't know, drama, like afterwards with the killer. He possessed one of our party members or whatever. Another partner, whatever her title is, which is the right save file. Yes, this one. So let's play the game. So yeah, this horse, yeah, he's possessed her. So what are they gonna do when they get here? This girl is pretty much my hostage. After all, I have the trigger for my cuffs. I have one too. Don't even think about it. Oh, is that so? Then you just have to die. What? She went on like that, but no bullets. She's all bark and no bite. I'm alive? My legs were trembling so hard I couldn't move. Right. There's more than one trigger, right? Uh-huh. What do you think you're doing? What do you think you want me to keep these cuffs on, not knowing when this girl will kill me? So the green button releases the cuffs? Right, you'd rather I fry myself with the yellow button, huh, like I'd ever. Why are you just... I didn't let you free from my skill. Why won't these stupid cuffs open? Staffer cuffs have a quick acting failsafe built into them just in case a staffer over the rank of Bowie tries to resist. Each detective is provided with a triggering remote. And that trigger allows the detective to subdue the staffer before they pose a threat. The yellow button triggers a stream of electricity just enough to subdue the wearer at the first press, but with each subsequent press the shock gets stronger. However, some staffers' skills have skills that can protect them from electric current, which is why we have the second button. The second button, the green button, is for a neurotoxin. So did he press the button himself then, because he thought it's the release button, like horse? In a heartbeat, the toxin hits the brain where it disables motor functions. After that, death. As for a button that releases the cuffs remotely, that button doesn't exist. Why? I definitely pushed green, yeah. I was thinking like that it should have neurotoxin, it was mentioned. He's dead. He's dead, Jim. Looks like Kendrick Horse had an accident. Fry or go free. Detective Thena, why do you phrase your demand like that? I didn't lie to him. I truly didn't. Okay. Don't they have cuffs that will suppress the supernatural powers of the guy? But I guess that's not a thing. Note? Note? Yeah. Sorry, you must be tired. There's just something you have to fill out for yourself. No need to apologize. Your role in this is finished, so I'm just thankful you're helping me out. No need to thank me. I try to be as helpful as I can be. That's just the sort of person I am. Yes, that's exactly the sort of person you are. And Detective Tina, she's just the same. Oh, you're here. Chief, detective case. You sure played an active role in this case, didn't you? Good work, my boy. And I heard you crawl through a drain pipe, Detective Brian. You seem surprisingly chipper today. I thought this Thena business would have you angry. Actually, we are quite lucky. Woods has been a bit of a nosedive the past 4 years, and thanks to this fortunately timed incident, we are able to close her down. Close the facility? That's right, quite a number of inhumane studies have been conducted in the Woods facility. If word of that got out, they'd make the connection to the Bureau, and we'd be condemned alongside them. Then actually, it's sort of Horse got what he wanted, like the killer, because he didn't like the way they treat animals there and stuff. He was right in the end. However, it was the Bureau's own agents who brought that to light. That makes us heroes in this story, exposing the threats that lay in wait. Due to that fact, the punishment for Detective Hervanus will be rather light. After all, the killer died due to a simple misunderstanding. I still like the punishment. Like, I guess you can accuse her of incompetence, but then again, like, he has a magical power. Like, it doesn't mean that, she should stay always like more than 4 meters away. I think that was the range for the power. Because he shouldn't be allowed to have battles. Like, I think they should have better equipment for suppressing people with superpowers like that. Did the Bureau really not know about the research that was going on there? Ha, Detective Case, you do ask rather silly questions sometimes. Whether we knew or not is hardly important matter here. I'm beginning to see why no one likes the chief. Haha, dear me. Did I do something wrong? If I had to pick one problem, I'd say it's you just existing. You could do with being a bit less honest at times. I don't know, it's weird. 4th floor balcony. So it's the smoking place. Playing hooky again? You caught me. I hate paperwork, plus you're better at it than me. Not today. I'm playing hooky too. We'll both get in trouble for running off. You sure you're not running off because the chief gave you an earful? Huh? Are you reading my memories or something? Not a chance. I can't touch people. I see then. Back when Mr. Beck touched her shoulder. The sergeant, she's just that sort of person. This case is going to make waves in our country. It's going to change how people perceive creatures on the whole. It's possible that even creature-based foods could be banned. It's going to be a rough time for the people who live off creature meats. Do you think Mr. Beck really did his research for the betterment of mankind? I can't tell you what went on in that man's brain, but I can at least tell you that he wasn't lying to us. That criminal Beck would have thought he was sticking to his morals with all that research, instead of feeling bad about doing it for the money. I bet it put his heart at ease. People who are stuck in their own ways, they act outside the ideas of right and wrong. They don't care about the truth or making up excuses. That goes for Beck, Horse too, and also Detective Thena. You're well aware of that, aren't you, Note? Thena's actions, they lie outside the realm of what we view as good and evil. She's super niche and she is the Übermensch, clearly. No one can change the Athena until she decides to change herself. I guess Detective Thena's always been like that. Then I was the only one who didn't know. That's right. And if you kept on not knowing, you wouldn't fear her. However? You think I'm scared of her? Are you not? This is me tooting my own horn, but my town was on the outskirts of the outskirts, so public order wasn't our strong suit. The sheriff was known to shoot and kill criminals. The private investigator at my firm helped him with that a few times. I didn't think it was good, but I wasn't all that opposed to it either. Well then, why the long face? Well, Brian. I'm back. Oh, that was faster than I thought. I don't see Pandy or Note around. Those two sometimes disappear without a trace. I was lucky and ended up settling for a pay cut. I thought it my neck this time, not metaphorically either, seriously. Since you're back, how about you start by filling this out? Why is there more paperwork than usual? Because of you. Even though it was ruled an accident, you did that on purpose, yes? I did, but I didn't do it when you were there, like I promised, right? Right, yeah, wait, so did she sort of bait him to possess her so he would kill himself? If that's true, the sort of respect, like just because it's sort of devious. What is it this time? Did the chief give you an earful? Sorry, I'll make it up to you this weekend. How's that sound? It's not that. I thought we finished this discussion a while back. I didn't do that on a whim. I'm okay dying on this hill. At least that won't cost a lot of you any more harm. It's better than losing another colleague. So she's lost a colleague. Thena. Note was rather shocked by everything. Right, I can understand that. Detective Thena, you're back. A note. Of course, what? You miss me? That was cringeworthy, wasn't it? No, it's not that. I just had something I wanted to say to you. Something to say? I think that no matter how many crimes a person commits, it's better not to kill them. I'm not as set in my beliefs as you are, Detective. I just don't feel right being involved in the death of someone. So if we ever find ourselves in a situation like we did today, I'm gonna do everything in my power to stop you. Okay, understandable. Under normal circumstances. So, Detective, you have to anticipate my interference and adapt appropriately if you wish to achieve your goal. What? You were only able to do what you did because you caught me off guard. But I'll be ready next time. Won't be easy. Not what are you getting at exactly? I just wanted to tell you in advance to save us the argument later. I thought it'd be better to get it all out there. It's not that note. I mean, you couldn't kill a person, could you? I mean, I guess not. And my killing a man doesn't disgust you or anything? I wouldn't say it disgusts me, but it's not good. After all, it's you we're talking about, Detective Thena. Eh? I just had this thought today. Even after working with you for a whole month, I still know very little about you. That doesn't just go for you either, Detective. It also goes for the extent of the sergeant's refusal to touch people and Detective Brian's overwhelming kindness and passion for his job. This is like another way of saying that Brian so far doesn't have much of a personality. I really had no idea. For some reason, that really frustrated me, so I thought why that might be. And I think the feeling comes from my liking you all. That goes for you, Detective Thena, Detective Brian, and Well, you get it. I think I want to know more about you all. I want to know more about you to know more about me. You might be disappointed by what you find out. You may even find it disagreeable. But I don't think I'm going anywhere. I like it here. That may have been crossing from honesty to simply saying too much. But it's good to hear. Oh, wait, hold up. Then that glum look from before. Right, that was me dwelling on this. You had me all worried. I still like that she pulls their gun. Especially this is, England. She's not American or anything. This is England. Of course, this is 60s and alternative timeline or whatever. But still, I don't know. Somehow it's absurd seeing somebody pulling a gun in England, taking current world into consideration. Tena, the gun. As per usual, you need to restrain yourself. What's with you two? Seriously. Note, you're way older than me. You're the first person to get to know me. You're the first person to get to know me and not say anything positive or negative about what I have to say. I'm thankful for that more than anything. Okay, so are we done with this case? However, I must apologize. There's one thing I have to take to my grave. My crimes, my betrayal. If I told you, things couldn't continue as they are. Still, because it's you, you may find out one day. Please, when you do, I hope you hold on to the right values when you judge me. Note. I thought you sort of reminded me of him, but I guess that's not right, huh? Look here. Who's this? Rapist guy? It's been a while. Why are you here? Are you here to kill me too? Well, okay. Case 2. Pet shop. It's not really a pet shop though. And, well, it wasn't a pet shop. It was a facility. They didn't sell pets and they didn't sell... Okay, case select screen. Okay, let's just go to case number 3. Wizard's room. Staff. Tools that exist with mysterious powers. The body of a famous staff collector was found sliced in half vertically. Side story. Okay, what's that? I don't like the sound of that. But it's gonna be a while since we get there, so let's see. London Dartford Road. So December 10th, 2 o'clock, 1960 something. That case finished up faster than usual. Indeed, the fingerprints on the incinerator played a critical role. I'm glad you came with me, but it was your choice to bring me along. Weren't you certain you'd need my skill after one look at the case file? You tend to overestimate my abilities, Detective Brian. The sergeant was away, so I had to choose between you and Detective Thena. And I couldn't pick her, could I? For your information, your conversation is being broadcast live to certain Detective Thena. After all, Detective Thena has so much more on her plate. And of course I do. Sorry I couldn't tag along, Notes. Good. I'm alive. Detective Brian, could you tell me in advance when you're radioing in? Haha, sorry about that. I know. I'm known to keep my spark turned over whenever I'm working. He sparks the bureau supplies to detectives. If you speak with the spark part facing down, you can transmit to any other spark in your set. Honestly, it looks ridiculous talking to an upside-down piece of cutlery, but the quality of the transmission is vastly superior to any existing walkie-talkie. It fits in one hand, and the sound is so crisp that you'd think the person was right next to you. It doesn't seem to have a limit on range either. Good reason for that. So how about if you go to China or America from England? Is it still, or you go to the moon or something? Does it still work? Anyway, the reason for that, these sparks we use, you said they're a manifestation of staff, right? That they are. Doesn't work though through any mechanical means, but by a skill that shares sounds, allowing for calls of such high quality. Skills, just like staffers. Yet, unlike staffers, staff needs a trigger. A trigger? No, as you may know, most staffers are able to wield their power of force whenever they wish to. However, since staff is inanimate, a certain condition must be met for the skill to happen. We call this condition a trigger. Okay, so when you point downwards, it's triggered. In the case of our sparks, the trigger is the fork prongs pointing to the ground. When that happens, it uses its skill to share sound. So is it like all sparks in England have this function, or certain types of sparks only? And say like if they're in the same set, you can talk between them. So it's not like all sparks transmit all sparks. Whatever. Let's do a save. A trigger, like we're setting off a gun or something. Now, sometimes you ask rather obvious questions. Aren't you supposed to have learned all this in school? I couldn't go to school. Huh? My hometown was a rundown backwards town you only see in Western movies. There was no one else my age in the whole town, so I couldn't have it wouldn't have made sense for them to have school. We had nothing resembling books either, so all I had to study was the local paper. No books. Okay, that sounds really like sad. Sometimes someone's come looking for me, so I have to end the call. Okay. I see. Then the information you had on the phenomena was scant at best, since all you had to do was you were exposed to in your hometown. Indeed, and that's why I decided to come here and get a crash course in everything. Yet, if you think about it the opposite way, you were able to reach the level you currently reside at from the worst of upbringings. After all, you've been able to solve these mana affair cases after gaining a purely passable understanding of the phenomena in question. Again, don't overestimate my abilities. After all, I'm not even able to drive myself around yet. I think we can make some time for driving lessons, don't you agree? It's just I feel bad asking the sergeant to drive me around all the time. Since I'm not a staffer, it's hard for me to solve cases by myself. I think you could manage, according to what I've heard at least. Heard from who? Never mind that, but if you do think something to be difficult, do everything in your power. And then if you feel you need the help of a skill, simply call me in. You've got your own work, Detective Ryan, so I feel bad calling you up all the time too. Think nothing of it. Consider me a handy tool you can call upon whenever you need. Huh? What exactly is that supposed to mean? You're right. That's a rather grandiose way of putting it. But if I might restate my points, I merely wish for you to trust me. Detective Brian, you have a habit of saying things in a rather unintelligible way at times. And you have a habit of speaking much too frankly at other times. Though it's not that noticeable when I'm put beside Detective Thena and the sergeant, Detective Brian is far from ordinary. Might I ask you a question? Right, of course.
どうして運転
Why
免
is it
許は
that you
ないの
don't have a
重
driver's
機の資格
license,
は持ってい
yet
る
you have a license to operate heavy machinery? That's a good question. I'd forgotten about that.
それ
That's a
は
bit of a
説
long
明する
story.
と長くなるんですが、普通じゃないのは
I guess not
僕も
too
同じなんだろ
ordinary
う。
myself. Manor First Division, so can we get to the crime and solving it?
戻りました。
We're back.
ちょっとブリアン
Hey
お客
Brian,
さんが来て
you're a
るよ
visitor.
ど
Uh,
うも
hello.
ああいらしてたんですね
You arrived.
おっし
I
ゃっていた
took
件は
everything you
このファ
told
イルに
me
ま
and
とめておきま
organized
した
it into this file.
ああ本当に用意してくれたんだ
I had no idea you'd actually do that. Honestly, I was expecting to get nothing but a stern talking
こ
to.
れがあれば基
But
本
this
的
you'll
な
be
対
able
外
to
活
go
動が
about your
可能
daily
になりま
life.
すです
But
が
if you wish to
も
attend
し
a
行事
festival
な
of
どに
sorts,
いやこれで十分
this is quite
こ
enough.
れがなくてこの6ヶ月
The
大
past
変だっ
6
たんだ
months have been
お
difficult
かげで
without
助
this.
かったよ
Thanks
兄
to
さ
you,
ん
sir,
ありがとう
I can get on with my life. You have my
じ
gratitude.
ゃあ機会があればま
I
た
hope to see you again if I get the
さ
chance.
て書類を作
Well
る
then, I
間
shall
に飲
make
むお
us a
茶でも
spot
入れ
of
ようか
tea and make this paperwork easier to swallow.
テナさん、今の方は
Detective Tena, who was
ス
that?
テッパー移民
Staffer immigrant.
生活しにくいとは
No
言っ
matter
て
how
も
hard
ロン
life
ドンほど
is
ステッパー
here,
に
there's
関
no
する規
place
定
with the
が整備
clearer
されてる
regulations
街は
for
ないから
staffers than London.
海
Thus,
外
it's
のステッ
quite
パーが
common for
よくこ
staffers
こ
to
に移住して
immigrate
くる
here
んだ
from abroad. And many
ポルトレベル
staffers
以上だ
at
と
cold threat
強
level
制的
and
にここで
above
暮
have
らさ
no
なきゃいけ
choice
ない
but
場
to
合
live
も
here.
ただステッパーが対外
However,
的
to
な活
engage
動
in
をするため
activities
には
outside one's
管
residence,
理情
it's
報み
required
たい
that
な
the
書類を発行
staffer
してもらう
acquires
必要
something
があ
like
るんだけ
bureau
ど
file first. And if an
移民
immigrant
者だ
is in
と
top
優
priority
先
for
順位が下げら
approval,
れて発
that
行まで
can
かなり
take
待た
quite
さ
a
れるみ
long
たい
time.
それは残念なことです
That's
け
all
ど
quite unfortunate,
書
but
類を発行す
processing
るの
those
は
files
別
isn't
にブリア
Detective
ンさんの
Brian's
仕事
job,
じゃ
is
あり
it?
ません。
今朝1階の受付で騒いでいるのをブリアンが見
Brian
たみ
must
た
have
い
seen that woman causing a scene this morning at the front counter on the first floor.
それで
Then what happened?
それでも何も
What do you mean? That was the end of it. I'd wager
どう
Brian
せ
just
また
offered
ブ
to
リアン
help
がや
out
る
of
っ
the
ていう
blue. This may be my own
僕が
twisted
ひねくれ
morals
てい
here,
るだ
but
けかも
don't
し
you
れませ
think
ん
the
が
kindness
ブリアン
Detective
さんの
Brian
親
shows
切
to
心は
those around him
ちょっ
is a
と
bit
やり
much?
すぎ。
ひねくれているかは別にして
I don't think it's a
ブリアン
question
の
of
おせっかい
twisted
は
morals.
神
I think
様
the
だって
Buddha
呆れるね
himself would turn up his nose at Brian's meddling. This is a Japanese game, so reference to Buddha like this is, natural, but they're supposed to be in 60s London, so this like the Buddha reference sounds a bit odd.
あいつ人
Anyways,
から
no
頼ま
matter
れたこ
who's
とは
asking, the
大
man
体
will
断
usually
らない
take
か
on
ら
the favor.
大体断らないんですか。
Usually?
大体ね
Usually.
ブリアンさん、
Detective Brian,
ちょっと手を
Could
叩
you
いてみ
clap
てもらえますか。
could you clap for me? Like this?
いえ、も
No,
っと強
with
くで
more
す。
fervor. Hmm? Or could you go
パン
buy
を
me
買って
some
きてもらえ
ノー
pastries?
ト
Note.
どんなパンがい
What
いんだ
pastries would you like exactly? Maybe there's like a gears on it, cast on him that he cannot refuse a request. No way.
私クロワッサン
I'll take a croissant.
君は自分で買
You
っ
get
て
it
こい
yourself.
おダメだった
That didn't work.
あれ、
Why
テナさん
didn't
の
he
言う
listen
こと
to you?
は
まこれは
Call it-
私の自業自得
Call it karma.
前に何かあったんで
Did
すか。
something happen to you in the past life?
そうだな僕たちが別れる時に決めたんだ
Indeed, it was when we decided to break things off between us. After that, I refused to fulfill a single one of the Ina's requests. Break things off doesn't mean they were dating or something?
そうだったんですね。
Oh, I
と
see.
ころで、
However,
別れる
what
時
do you
に
mean by
って
broke
どういう
things
意味
off
ですか。
exactly?
言
Hmm?
ってなかったか
Did we not tell you
私た
before?
ち付き合っ
We
てた
were
の
dating. Oh, I see. I had no idea.
あ、そうで、なんだ。
What was
今
that? They were
何を聞いた
dating,
んだ。
these two?
付き合っ
Is
て
such
た
a
って。
thing physically
この二人
possible?
が物理的に可能なのか。
Why is it? I'm just thinking, is that like they're not like Rogue from X-Men or something? I guess they can
か
touch.
なり気になるが、
I'm
ど
extremely
んなことがあっ
curious
たの
what
かわから
happened
ないし、
between them, but
下手に
since I
聞けない
can't
な。
be sure of all the circumstances, I shouldn't pry.
事件よみんな
You
準備
case,
して
suit up everyone.
このタイミングで。
What horrible timing. Very good
4
timing.
人
I wanna
全員
go
で行
get
くん
the
ですか
case. Are all four of us going on this one? What sort of case do you have?
現場の写真はあるん
I
だ
got a
けど
photo of the crime scene
ちょっ
right
と
here,
グロテ
but
スク
I
だ
must
ね
warn you that it's quite gruesome.
まったく
Nice, I
何
like
言
the
って
sound
も
of that.
私
Come
た
on,
ちは毎
Pandy,
日
it's
の
not
よう
that
に死
as
体を
though
見
we
てる
don't
って
see a
言われ
body
て
every day
今さら
or
写真
two,
撮
and
ら
it's
いで
just a pic. Ah, get it away, shoo. Wait, is it porn? Because it's pixelated. I'm used to. I mean, I never watched porn, of course, but
今のその写
in
真
the picture, that body,
死体が
it was sliced in half vertically at that.
被害者の名前
The
は
victim's
ピ
name
ー
was
ター・ミラー
Peter Miller. That's a very normal name. Where are our weird names? I'm sort of getting starting to miss the weird names.
ダートフォード通りで有名な
He lived out on Dartford Road, and he was a rather well-known staff collector. Unarmed, threat level. Okay, so she's the killer. Caucasus. I forgot his first name is Caucasus. That's the most absurd. The wizard's room. I should steal that name for a book I'm writing. Use somebody's name, Caucasus. Or Caucus, why not? Or just cauliflower.
ブリアンさん
Detective
さっ
Brian,
きの
could
話
you elaborate on
詳し
what
く
we were
聞かせ
talking
ても
about
らっても
before?
いいでしょうか
さっきの話
What we were talking about before?
ああ
About the
事件の話
case.
か
You must not
チー
have
フ長の
heard the
話がちゃん
sergeant's
と頭に
explanation
入らな
い
かっ
before.
やその
No, it's
たわ
about...
かるよ
Understand, that
写真は
photo
僕
did a
が見て
number
も
on me
衝
as
撃的
well.
だっ
I
たし
imagine you must have
集
had
中
a
で
hard
きなかっ
time
たんだ
focusing.
そうですね
I mean, you're not
うん
wrong.
そうだな
I see. If
整
I
理
had
す
to
ると
summarize
こう
it
いう
all...
内容だった被害者の名前は
Our
ピーター・
victim's
ミ
name
ラ
is
ー
Peter Miller.
退
Okay,
役
he
軍人
looks
で
psychotic.
ある自動車企業に投資して
Rumor has it that
かな
after
りの富を
retiring
得たとい
from the
う噂だ
military, he amassed a considerable fortune by investing in an automobile company,
だが
Volkswagen.
彼の名が広く知られ
However,
る
the
ようになっ
reason
た
his
きっ
name
かけは
spread through
その
certain
変わった
circles
収
was
集癖の
because
せい
of
だ
his unique collection.
ステップを集
He
めてい
collected
たと言って
staff,
い
right?
そうだ
Indeed, he
それ
did.
も管理局
It
の審
seems
査を
as
受け
that
てい
his
ない
collection
非認可
contains
の
a
ステップら
number
しい
of unauthorized staff that has not been inspected by the Bureau.
非認可というのは
個
Unauthorized?
人で所有できるステップは
Only staff
管理
inspected
局
by
の
the
審査
Bureau
を
and
通った
labeled with a
ボ
threat
ーイレベ
level
ル
of
以下のステッ
Bowie
プ
or
だけだ
under may be purchased
コ
by
ルトレベ
private
ル以上のステッ
citizens.
プは所有すること
Owning
自
a
体が
staff
犯
with a
罪に
threat
なる
level of Colt or above is a
被
crime.
害者の収集品は
Thus, a
その
victim may
審査
have
すら受け
dangerous
ていない
items
危
in his
険な代
collection
物
that
というわけだ
have never been inspected.
賄賂を使って管理局の
It
目を
seems
ごま
as
かしてい
though
たようだ
bribery
が
was enough to keep
コレ
it
クター
from
の
the
間で
ears
は
of the
かなり
Bureau
有名な存
officials,
在
yet
だった
his
らし
name
い
is famous among
そんな
collectors.
人物が
Also, the
今朝
victim was
写
found
真の
splayed
姿で
out
発
this
見され
morning,
た
just as he was in the picture.
ステップを保管していた倉
He
庫
was in
の
front
前
of
で
the storage shed he keeps his collection of staff in.
死体の第一発見者は
The
配偶
first
者
on
で
the
ある
scene
エルミラ
discovering the body was none other than the victim's wife, L. Miller.
彼女はステッパーだ
She's
が
a staffer,
危
but
険
her
レベルが
threat level
最も
sits
低
the
い
lowest
アンアー
at
ムドだ
unarmed.
人体をバラバラに
She
できるほ
doesn't
ど
have
の
a
スキルは
skill
持ってい
capable
な
of
い
slicing a man in
普通に
twain.
考え
Such
て
a feat would be
被害者
impossible
をあん
with
な風
any
に殺
ordinary
害する
object.
のは不可能だろ
What if you have like a bardish or a halberd, something like that? Well, maybe she's not strong enough to wield it like
う
that.
だが現場近くに保管されていた
However,
被害
the
者の収
victim's
集品
collection
は
stored
一般
nearby
的な
the
もので
scene
は
of the
なかっ
crime is full of objects far from ordinary.
た被害者があんな姿になっ
Considering
た
the
のは
state of the victim's
集められた
body,
非認可
there
の
is a
ステッ
high
プの影
likelihood
響であ
that
る
the
可能性が
unauthorized
高い
staff from his collection played part in the crime.
今回の捜査では
This
その
case
ステ
will
ップ
be
に焦
centered
点を
around
合わせることに
investigating
な
the
りそうだ
staff in his collection. Staff collection. Dun, 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 dun. I was actually trying to inquire about his relationship with Detective Thena, but he's correct in his claim that this is no ordinary case. It's clear that this is different from any case we've ever experienced. Let's get rid of these idle thoughts for now and focus on the case. After all, I'm a detective. Well, you're perhaps not asking about the case, but talking about my relationship with Thena that we mentioned before. If you're curious about that, it's not exactly a secret. Shall I fill you in? Sure. Alright, I'll tell you right after we've finished with our investigation. After all, we arrived at the scene of the crime. Alright. To be perfectly frank, I had no idea you wanted to hear about it so badly. I imagine you wouldn't be all that interested. But I am, in fact, I found my interest to be growing recently. Miller Residence, 3 o'clock. The front yard is quite large. We can't be sure if all the rumors are true, but it certainly seems as though the one about them having a considerable fortune is correct. I don't think the size of their residence is of great importance. In fact, it reminds me of my childhood home. Ooh. Rich brat or whatever. It's not the size of the residence, it's how you use it. Is that so, detective? Then were you born into money? Then his overwhelming kindness stems from some sort of noblesse oblige. Not that any of that matters with the situation as it stands. Perhaps the storage shed over there is our crime scene. It seems as though the Sarge and Thena have beat us to it. Step lightly. After you. Okay, the storage shed, like, we don't see the whole compound or whatever security measures they have, but it doesn't seem like, you know, if he has some potentially dangerous staff items there, like, you know, to keep them in a shed like that. Like, it's not the best idea, but I can understand that he doesn't want to keep them inside the mansion, because if there are dangerous objects, like, you know, so they don't blow up everything so easily. Anyway, you're here. Sergeant, is this our crime scene? It is. You saw it in the picture before, yes? Yes, though I'm trying to erase what I saw from my memory. I've seen mutilated and dismembered bodies before, but this is the first time I've seen one sliced through vertically. And that means, yeah, so it's vertically, like, is it completely split in half, the guy? Then that means she's seen one sawed in half horizontally. Even if it was a person who did this to a victim, cutting a body in half vertically would not have been easy. It's fair to say that there must have been a reason for doing this to the body. There's something that caught my eye before. Maybe this balloon-like outfit the victim was wearing. It's a protective suit. I heard that he always wore that when he entered the storage shed where he kept his staff. That shows us just how dangerous the items here are. That's right, let's begin our investigation here. Now, Brian, I will take care of the investigating the area around the body. I like to get a trace photo and complete the memory survey at the same time. You think you can handle that? Sure, it shouldn't be too difficult. We'll leave that to you. Let's get right to it. We've got at least 2 other places to investigate waiting for us. Clue time. Okay, investigate the protective clothing. This is horrible. Even without the body. Just the trace left behind can help me envision the scene. Probably even more so because I got a good look at the picture before. Right, that. It was quite rough. Sorry about that. I thought it unfair that I be the only one to see it. Anyway, it was intentional. I'll stop with the jokes. If the victim was swearing this during his final moments, there's a good chance his voice remains with it. If I read the memories it contains, I should get something.
どうですか
And
何
is
か
there
残って
anything
います
left?
どんなことを言った
I
のか
couldn't
正
tell what
確
the
には
victim
わ
was
からない
saying. All I got was
被害者は死ぬ前に
the victim yelling at the top of his lungs about something in his final moments.
それは
Does that mean he got in a confrontation with someone?
そうじゃなかったとしても
Even if it
被害者は
didn't, it
自分が
hints that
死
the
ぬと
victim
いう
knew
こと
his
を
death was
直
coming
前に
before it
察知した
happened.
可能性が高
Rather
そうだ
unfortunate,
は
really.
っきりと聞き取れた言葉が一つ
There's one word I was able to make out,
何
so
ですか
was that
掃除
clean? I guess like, oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to clean all this blood from my guts.
掃除
Clean?
掃除
Clean. Ah, okay. Soji, that means to clean, I think. It doesn't mean like clean, like, you know, like my glass is clean. It's not that. It's like I have to clean my glass, I think.
なんで掃除なんだ
What's that supposed to mean in all this? Protective clothing on the
この
ground.
布の切れ端みたいなのは
This scrap of
報
clothing.
復か
It was his protective suit. It looks like he was wearing it. Now that you say it, does have quite a lot of blood
どう
stains
し
on
て
it.
これだけここにある
I'm
の
not
か
sure why this one is lying here.
防護服は普段
This
この
must
場
be
所に
where
保
he
管されてい
usually
る
stores his protective suit.
私が調べた記
That
憶
lines up with the
似たような
memories I
感じ
read. I
それ
read.
に被害者
Seems as though the victim
掃除
hated
なんか
tidying
脱
up.
いだ上着を椅子
It
に
holds
放
the
り投
memory
げ
of
た
a
ような衝撃があっ
jolt
た
that feels as though it was tossed onto a chair or
なんと
something.
なく状況がわかる気がして
I feel like I could
少し
imagine
耳が
that.
痛いな
A sort of
で
jab.
もこれは
Yet,
何か気になることでもあり
is
ました
there a
防護
problem?
服が
The
床
way
に
this
放り投げられ
protective
る
suit
過
seems
程
to have
が
been tossed away feels a
少
bit
し不自然に
unnatural.
感じたまるで
It's
被
like the
害者が
victim
防
was in
護
the
服
middle
を
of
着ている状
putting
態
on the
から
suit when he missed the
床に
step
落
and
ち
it
るま
was
での
thrown
過
off.
程が抜け落ちてる
I
感
know
じ
my
というか
explanation isn't doing much
こんな風に
to
口で
help you
チーム
understand.
長が感じたことを
I must admit
言
it's
葉だ
hard
け
for
で
me
理
to
解
wrap
する
my
の
head
はちょ
around
っと
what you
難しい
felt.
とりあえず不自
For
然な
now,
動き
just
を
write down
書いておいて
that the movements felt
わかり
unnatural.
ました
Alright?
それから
Also,
うわ
what happened to this
防護
suit
服から突
all
然
of a sudden?
音が
Did he
どうした
do
んでしょう
something
か
to it?
私が読み取った記憶では
From the memories I received, it was as if it blew up like a balloon. I imagine it must have been inflated to absorb a shock and protect its wearer.
高い車についているエアバッグみたいなもので
Sounds
す
like
か
one of those airbag bags you find in expensive cars, no? Did they exist in the 60s?
今は半
Maybe
分
they
に
did,
分
or
かれている
well,
ので
this is different
空気が
timeline
抜ける
anyway.
音しかしません
Different universe. From the look of it, it's been ripped in half, so he'd only hear the sound of all that air escaping.
こんな機能があっても
Even with such a
結
function,
局
I
被
think
害
it's
者の
safe to
体を
say
守
it
るの
failed
に
to
は
protect
失
the
敗したみ
victim.
たいですね
Storage shed
残さ
floor.
れている足跡
The
は
footprints left behind are from a victim and his wife, and also,
チーム長
there are
情報にない
footprints
足
from
跡があり
someone
ます
we don't have any information on yet,
身
Sarge.
元不明ってことね
We have an unidentified person.
そうすると
What are we
どうな
supposed
る
to
んで
do
すか
with that?
どうもこうもないわ
What do you think?
To the
We leave the name blank and
名前
figure
は
out
不明
who's
の
the
ままに
owner
して
of
ある
said footprints.
これはいい兆候
This is
よ
a good sign of things to
第
come.
一発
We
見
have
者
a
の他に
suspect
も容
besides
疑
a
者がい
single
るという
witness.
足跡ができた時間は
When were the prints made?
午前0時です
Right at
ね
the stroke of
午
midnight.
前0時って
Midnight, they were up in
完
the
全に真
middle
夜中
of
じゃ
the
ないか
night.
そんな時間に
People were out
ここに
here
来た
that
人がい
late.
るということか
Door.
かなり古いドアですね
Pretty old
建物は
door.
立派なの
Wooden
に
doors.
もっといい
The
ドア
house
に
looks
変え
quite
ないんで
nice,
しょ
so
うか
why not get a nice door over here?
音が残っているわ
There's a sound here. A
若い女の子
voice of a younger woman.
女
So
被
is
害
it
者の奥さんである
woman's
可能性が高いですね
footprints there?
何と言っているか
A
聞き
woman,
取れ
that's
ますか
probably the victim's wife. Can you make out what she's
そう
saying?
ね
She's angry at someone. She said, "You can live in there for the rest of your life." Then I heard a hard collision.
それから
Maybe they were arguing.
何かが
If it's the
強く
wife,
一生そこ
You
で
can
暮ら
live
しな
there
さい
in
どういう
there for the
意味で
rest
す
of
か
your life. What's that supposed to
な
mean?
んだか
Sounds like a
ショーウィンドウ
parent
を前に
yelling at a
若
child
かり
during
の
their
叱
trip
る
to the
親が
market.
言いそう
Don't you
な
agree?
あそうなんですか
You think?
僕には叱ってくれる親
I
がい
didn't
な
have
かった
any
ので
parents to
よく
yell
わ
at
かり
me,
ませ
so
ん
I wouldn't know.
悪かった
Sorry, my mistake.
どうして謝るんだ
Why is he
自覚
apologizing?
してないと
It's
か
sadder that you aren't
余計に
more
悲し
mindful
い
of
わ
what you're saying. Alright, that's all.
大体全部調べた
Is
か
that
しらノー
everything?
ト
Notes, the documents?
これです。
Here you are. For now, we have 2 items to focus on. Let's check the clues, like this one. So footprints, unknown footprints at midnight. Footprints Peter, so he's the victim. Footprints L. 3 here. Corpse. So, wait, it was 2 o'clock that he died. Clothing trace. Door. Okay. The first is the people who visited the scene of the crime on the day in question. We have our victim, Peter Miller, his wife, Elle Miller, and one more person we have yet to identify. The second item is the protective clothing. Somehow half of it came to lie a distance from the body. But honestly, why did the victim need to wear a protective suit in the first place? This is his home, isn't it? Perhaps entering the storage shed is dangerous. So he wears protective clothing to enter his own storage shed? It's not that note, it's the storage itself we should be paying attention to, but the items contained within. It's not the storage shed, but the items. Of course, the staff. Steppu. Okay, that's staff. The staff contained within that room is all unauthorized, which means we have no idea what skill each carries. We don't know. We do know one thing, though. At least one of the staff in there is dangerous enough to warrant them wearing protective clothing. I see. Then let's get in there and start investigating. Sure. If you have a death wish. Huh? Brian, explain it to him. Told you before, but every piece of staff has a certain condition, a trigger which activates a skill. The moment we activate that trigger intentionally or otherwise, we invoke the staff to use its skill. If by chance the trigger is activated by someone or something approaching, the staff could use its skill and someone could get hurt. I see, I didn't think about it like that. Leave this next part to me. My skill allows me to read trace from a distance. Huh? Well, what if a piece of staff is triggered by someone staring at it? Isn't that dangerous too? You could be right. In that case, do you think you could keep sweeping your gaze around? Good idea. I'll give it a go. So, no, if there's anything you'd like... What is he doing? Is he humping us in the ass? If there's anything you'd like me to investigate, let me know. Well done, Note. Thanks to you, Brian will be safer than before. What's that? Dragon Ball? No, it's all thanks to your suggestion. Then we'll call it team effort. For Detective Brian's sake, I'd better leave poking fun at him for later. Clue time. Okay, floor. The only footprints inside belong to the victim. No, that's not right. I see prints from one more person. Whose are they? I don't know whose, but they're matched to the footprints we found outside the storage shed. Then a suspect entered the storage area as well. Rather suspicious, don't you think? When were the footprints left? Midnight? Same as the others out front. The owner of these footprints didn't stay very long. So that at that time there was a third person on the premises. Okay, stone sculpture. What is art exactly? That is quite a philosophical question. But if we were to give such a question its due, that would require a great deal of time. How about we hold that discussion for next time? I'd rather not open that can of worms. Shall we call this thing a statue then? Since it's on display here, it's staff. The hand is clutching golden objects. That could be interpreted as a number of ways. That red pattern, I see a number similar to a number of similar markings in here. Here's like, yes, I'm marking here and here.
一体どんな意味なんでしょうか。
What do they mean though? Window.
倉庫の後ろの方は
The lot
だいぶ
behind the
草が生い
storage
茂っ
shed
て
is
いますね。
overgrown with grass and
手入れが
weeds.
難しい場所
Must
だ
be
から
hard
放置され
area
て
to
いるんだろう。
maintain. If I were him, I'd be
そのう
worried
ち
that
雑草が
overgrowth
倉庫の
might
中に
somehow
まで
find
入っ
its
て
way
こ
inside.
まあ僕たちが
Now
心配
that's
する問
hardly a
題ではないで
problem.
すよ。
Anything worth noting?
これは
That's
少し
rather
意外だ
surprising. I thought I might
てっきり被害者の指
find
紋
the
が残されていると思
victim's
ったんだ
fingerprints
が
over there, but the
残
only
っている
prints
の
are
は
from
配
the
偶者
victim's
の
wife,
エル・ミラー
Elle
の指紋
Miller.
だけだ。
被害者の妻も
Does
よ
that
く
mean
こ
the
こに来てい
victim's
たんで
wife
しょうか。
frequents the building too?
それはわからない
I
な。
can't tell you.
最近の
Only
指
the
紋しか
latest
残っていない
prints of
から
her remain. The
お
rest,
そら
it
く
looks like they were
一度
wiped
指紋
away.
が
窓枠が狭い。
That window's so
ここから
small,
人
it'd
が
be
出入り
hard
する
for
の
a
は
person to
難しそう
slip
だ。
in and out of it.
でも
Still,
なんだか
something
気に
about
な
it
る。
bothers me. Black note. Is it Death Note?
黒いノートがあるな。
There's black
あれも
notebook
ステ
over
ップ
there.
なんだろうか。
Is that a staff as well?
うん
Thoughts on
ノー
that
トはあ
notebook
の
note?
ノート
そうですね。ああして展示してあるということは
Since it's on display, it's gotta be staff.
それだけ
Is that all? Unlike the other
他
staff
の
in
ステッ
this
プと
room,
違っ
there are
て
no
赤
red
いマークみた
markings
いな
on
も
it.
のが書かれてい
Or
ません
maybe
ね。
they're somewhere we can't see.
そう
Could
それ
be.
がノートに対する
So
ノー
that's
トの考
notes
えなの
notes on the notebook for you.
はい。
Yes.
我慢強いわね
Aren't you holding back well?
何の話ですか？
What do you
指
mean?
紋が残っているな。
There are fingerprints
だ
on
が
it,
これは
but
被
they're
害者と
different
の
from
夫
the
人の指
victims
紋
and
と
the
も違う。
wives.
チーム長が持ってきた資
I
料
don't
に
see
も
anything
一致
that
する
matches
指
the
紋はないが
documents you brought along either.
さっきの足跡の主が残したんでしょう
Perhaps
か？
they were made by the same person who made the footprints.
そうとも考え
You
られ
could
るが
assume so,
一
but
つ
there's
気になる
something
点
that
がある。
concerns me about
この
them.
指紋は
These prints were
深
made
夜
at
1時に残され
1
ている。
a.m.
倉庫の外にあった
The
謎の足
footprints
跡
outside
は
were left at
深夜0
midnight.
時にできたも
If
の
the
でしたよ
owner
ね。
of those footprints
もし
touched
そ
the
の
notebook,
1時間もの間
then our suspect was in
この倉庫の
here for
中にいたという
over an
ことか。
hour. What was the
どうなって
person
るんだ？
doing all that time? Reading the book? Writing everybody's names on it if it's the death note?
これ
Phonograph.
は蓄
That's a
音機というも
phonograph,
の
right?
ですよ
It's
ね。
the first time I'm
一
seeing
般
one
家
in
庭で見る
person,
のは
in a
初めてで
person's
す。
こ
home.
の手のモデルは
That's
かな
because
り
this
高
model
価だ。
comes with quite a
ただ
high
音楽
price
鑑賞
tag.
のた
I
めに
doubt
置い
it's
てあ
just
る
for
わけじゃ
listening
なさ
to
そうだ
music.
が、こうして飾っているのは
Since it's on
この
display
蓄音機
here,
がス
does
テッ
that
プだ
make
か
it
らだ。
staff?
少
It's
し
an
古いが
antique, but I
被
see the
害者の
victim's
手の跡が
handprints
残
on
っ
it.
ている。
わかりやすくていいですね。
Good, you can
肝
see that
心
so
のステップ
well,
のスキル
though
に
we
つい
still
て
don't
は
know
わ
what
か
it
りませんが、
what skill it
何
carries.
か変わった痕跡みたいなもの
Is
は
there
な
no
いですか？
trace that stands out to
う
you?
ん。一
I
つ
see
変わ
one
った
thing
の
that
があるに
strikes me
は
as
あるが、
unusual, but I can't
よく
quite
見
make
え
it
ない。
out.
どんなものですか？
What's that?
蓄音機の木の部分
There's a
に
small
若
gap in
干
the
隙
wooden
間が見
part
える。
of the phonograph.
そんなのがあるんですね。
Ah, yeah, there's
僕
the
の目に
red
は全
symbol
然
here
見えませ
too.
ん。
Oh, really? I can't make out it with my eyes.
かなり小さな隙
It's
間だ
quite
から
small. I
な。
believe
お
it'd
そ
be
らく
hard for
僕
anyone
の
to
スキ
make
ルが
out
なければ
without
見
my
えんだ
skill.
が、
But the
あんなと
fact
ころに
is
痕跡が
that
残
its
っているとい
trace
うこと
might
は、
mean that you can
まる
make
であ
the
の
gap
隙間が
bigger.
まさか
Could
箱
it
のよう
perhaps
に
be
開け
open
る
like a
作りになっ
box?
ているんだ
Oh,
ろう
maybe
か。
there's some booze bottle or something. Trace on
こ
the
のド
door.
ア、うまく
This
閉ま
door
らな
has
いよう
been
にテープ
taped
で固
over
定さ
so
れて
it
います
won't
ね。
close.
現場を見つけた
It
時の
seems it
状
was
態を
taped
維持しているんだろ
open
う
to
か。
keep the scene how it was
ドア
found.
に残っている指紋は
Most recent
エ
prints
ル・
on
ミ
the
ラーの
door
ものが
were
一
made
番
by
新
Elle
しい指
Miller,
紋。
現場を見つけた
the
被害
person
者
who
の奥さんで
discovered
す
the
ね。
body, right? This
この
door,
ド
there's a bit
ア、
of red
何
on
か
it.
赤いものが書か
Is
れ
it
ている
some sort
な。
of marking?
でも、ス
Yes,
テップ
but
に
it's
書かれ
much
た
more
マークに
simple
比
than the
べて、
markings on the
で、こ
staff.
のマークに
Are
何
these
か
patterns
意味があ
supposed
る
to
んだ
mean
ろうか。
something? Okay,
こ
we're
こまでの
done.
調査では、最も怪しいのは身元不明の足跡ですね。他に気になる手がか
Out
り
of
はありませ
everything
んで
we
した。
investigated thus far, the most suspicious finding is the footprints of our unidentified suspect. There's nothing else that particularly stands out. Well, the fingerprints, oh, and that's the handprint. Hmm.
それでも覚えておいた方がいいわね。トリガーのヒントになるような痕跡
There's
が
one
残ってい
thing think that bears remembering though. There may be hints about the triggers somewhere.
万が一のために普通
Just
の
in
写真も
case
一枚
it'll
撮って
take a
おきま
normal
す
picture of the interior. I'll take a normal picture of the interior too. Yeah, I wonder if the like the red symbols are somehow like his alchemical writing about their staff abilities. Handy help! I can't handle this by myself. I had a feeling. You're such a meanie. I'll be right there, Thena. Hold on just a bit longer. Sarge, speaking of Thena, where is she exactly? Oh, Thena's investigating a different crime scene. Different crime scene? Didn't I say before? There were two places to be investigated. One was in the interior of the shed and the other is elsewhere. Another crime scene? Isn't the body here? Ah, is it split in, like, found in two different places? Half of it is. Where do you think the other half of the corpse went? We have to climb up to the second floor. Wherever we're going is far from the shed. Sergeant, this is the victim's home. Are you telling us the crime didn't happen in front of the shed? This could very well just be an accident or something, like, you know, the guy was playing with his staff dildo or something and it, I don't know, split him in half and then teleported the other half away or something. You two will see when we get there. It's too much of a chore to explain. Just follow me. Okay, this is the room, our second crime scene. At some point I was able to imagine what was behind the door before it opened. I could smell that familiar scent, the scent of blood. Indeed, one thing's for certain, this is a crime scene. This is the victim's bedroom. And that on the bed is... This is where the other half of the body was found. Is this the bed of this couple? Like, it looks so small and unimpressive, like the whole... Like, they have a fancy manor or mansion, and but the bed looks like very narrow and not very luxurious or anything. I know it doesn't really matter, but it's just stood out to me. Detective Thena, I've been combing the area and doing what I can, but I have no idea what happened here. I imagine you two will see something else using your skills, right? Note, are you ready? Yes, let's start our investigation of the room. Clue time! Clobbering time. Okay, the bed. Half of the corpse on the bed was moved 2 hours ago. That was probably when the police came to cart away the body. Apologize, but I think that's all my skill can tell you. Then I shall read the memories of this bed might have for us. Oh. Sergeant, did you uncover something? I did, but it wouldn't be right to go into details. But yeah, it's a bed. What does a married couple at sometimes do on the bed? Why is that? It's a matter of privacy in regards to the victim and his wife. Well, maybe the wife did an Amber Heard or turd on the bed. Still, if it was an unexpectedly rich piece of information to harvest. Excuse me? And we know there were no bad feelings festering in the bedroom. I mean, I could go into the dirty details if you insist. No, thank you. I'll pass. Drawer. Is there anything in this drawer? That one. I checked it out earlier, but I only found an empty notebook. Note. I see. Okay, doing well at restraining yourself. How have you been expecting me to react? Hold up. This notebook. First page was thrown out. There may have been something important written there. Okay, do the old pencil trick on it. Whatever what was on that page is been there long enough that the notebook holds no memory of it. However, the page was thrown out quite recently. If that's the case, I may be able to remake it with my skill. If I read the impressions on this page and trace them out. The writing from the page before reappears. So she can use her skill like that too? Done. The parts written before. I see prices, people's names, so a receipt.
取引した金額はいくら
How
ですか
much money changed hands? 5,000?
5000ペンスですか
5,000 what? Pence? No,
ポンド
pounds. What?
立派な家が買
You
える
could
お
buy a
金じゃない
mansion for that much money. Was 5,000 pounds that much in the 60s?
家を取引した
Was it a
領収書
receipt
でし
for
ょう
an
か
estate sale or something?
そう考えるのが妥当でしょうけど
You'd be justified in thinking that, but something about such a huge sale being written out in a notebook feels
少
wrong.
し見てもいいでしょうか
Could have been a quick look at that. Could I have a quick look at that? Yeah.
このノー
The
ト
only
に残ってい
prints
る
left on
写
this
真
receipt belong
被
to
害
a
者のもの一つ
victim.
だけ
They are
です
over 5 months
それ
old
も
at
5
that.
ヶ月
少なくとも5ヶ月前
So 5 months
5000
ago,
ポンド
someone made a
相当の
sale for
取引がされ
something
たんで
worth
す
5,000 pounds. Or maybe they were planning it, like calculating the
そう
sale.
ね取引
That's
相
right,
手
and
の
our
名
other
前
party in the
ジ
sale
ャド
was
ベリ
Zadvering. Okay, now we're back to weird names. Yeah. Somehow they ruined me. Like I've been mind raped by the weird names and now I want more.
ジャドベリ
Zadvering. Should I remember the name? I should remember the name. This Giga Chad bearing
こ
watch.
れは
It's a pocket
懐中時
watch.
計ですね
Looks rather expensive,
被
no?
害者の指紋
The
が
victim's fingerprints are all over
時
it.
計の持ち
Was
主
it
は
his?
指紋は数時間前のもの
Considering
だ
the
と
time of the
今日
last
も
prints,
使
he
われてい
used
た
it
よう
this
だ
morning
そ
too.
れじゃあ
Then
どう
why
し
is
て
it
ここに
here?
そうですね
A man normally
普通こういう
keeps
の
such
は
thing
懐
on
に
his
忍ぶ
person.
待てよ
Hold on a minute.
時計の
The
針
hour
が
hand
7
is
時間ほど
reading
遅れてい
7
る
hours too early.
壊れたんでしょうか
Is it broken?
いや
But you just
それ
said
にし
it
ては
was
時間
used
の
this
ズレが
morning. Did someone mess
意
it
図
with
的
it on
に遅ら
purpose?
せた
いえそれ
No,
は
that's
違
not
う
it.
と
It has no memory of being
手動で
manually
時間
wound
を操
backward.
作し
それなら
Then
や
it's
は
really
り故障したん
broken?
だろうか
What would have
時
broken
計
it?
が故障する理由ってなんだ
床に残っているのは
There are
被害
footprints
者
on
の
the
靴
floor
の
from
足跡
both the victim and his
お
wife.
かしいです
That's odd.
ここで殺人
If
があっ
this
た
is
のな
where the
ら
murder
犯
occurred,
人の
you'd
足
find
跡
the
が残っ
killer's
ているはずなの
footprints
に
too.
たとえ犯行現場が別の場所だっ
Even
た
if
として
this weren't the
死
primary
体を
crime
ここまで
scene, you'd
運
see
んだ足跡が
footprints
残
from
っていなけ
whoever
れば
moved the body. Hmm.
犯人と奥さんが同
If
一人
the
物だと
wife or a
いうなら
criminal, that would
話は
make
別だ
sense, but
まだ断定する
it's
に
too
は早
early
い
to
わ
say for
そう
certain.
ですね
Indeed,
この
seems
事件に
quite
はステ
likely
ップ
that
が
the
関わ
staff
ってい
played
る可能
part
性
in
が
this
高い
murder.
ので
There's also the
普通じゃない
possibility
手
that
段で
the
死体
body
が
was
運ば
moved
れたと
through
いうことも
unusual
考えられま
means.
すから
Yeah, like telekinesis, teleportation, or I don't know, time
ブレアンさ
manipulation.
ん意外と疑り深いな
Detective Brian's voicing his
捜査官だ
suspicions
から
more
当
than
然では
usual.
あるが
Though such action is rather natural for a detective. Zadvering.
とりあえずこのくらいか
Shall we call it
どう
here?
何か新しい情報でもあった
Did you learn anything new?
気になるところ
There
は
are
多いんです
parts I
が
find suspect,
今の
but
状
the
況で
thing
一
that
番気
bothers
に
me
なる
most
床に
is
残った
the
跡で
trace
すね
left on the floor. So the footprints?
そうだな
Indeed.
足跡のこ
You're
とだろ
talking about the footprints.
さっきも言ってたよね
Talked about them
被
just a
害者
moment
の
before,
と
no?
奥さんのどっ
Which
ちの
set is
方が怪しい
suspicious, the
の
victim or the wife's? But shouldn't there be footprints of the cops who came to get the body, or does the Brian, he's just leaving them out because they're clearly not relevant to the
そう
case?
じゃなくて
That's not the
その
issue
他
here.
の
The
足跡が
problem is
残っ
that
てい
there
ない
isn't
ことが
another
問題
set.
ん
What?
この事件の最も大きな
Most
特徴
remarkable
は
feature of this
被害
case
者
is
の
the
死体
fact
が
that the
2つの
victim's
場所
body
に
is
分
in
かれ
two
ていた
different
というも
places.
し誰
Yet,
かが死体を
if
持って
someone
移
were to
動
have
させ
picked
たの
up
な
and
ら
moved the body,
床に
we
その痕跡
would
が残
expect
る
to
のが
see
一
trace
般的
evidence from that person.
あ
Aha,
あ
but
だ
we
けど
don't have any
痕
evidence
跡
that
が残っ
happened,
ていな
right?
かったってことねここへ来るまでの間にもそんな跡は見ら
There's
れ
no
なかった
evidence of that the
少なくとも
entire way up
一
here.
般的な
At
方
least,
法で死体を
at
移
the
動さ
very
せ
least,
たん
we
じゃ
can
ない
say
わ
for certain the body was moved by no ordinary
倉
means.
庫にあったステップ
There's a
で
good chance
死
that the
体が移
corpse
動
was
した可
moved
能性
using
が
one of
高
the
いでしょ
staff he's got displayed in the
これ
shed.
はほぼ確定ね
In fact, I'm almost
やっ
certain,
ぱり
as
この事
expected, we're
件を
going to
解
have
決す
to
るた
know
め
the
には
skill of each
ス
piece
テ
of
ップのス
staff
キルを
out
調
there if
べる
we're
必要
gonna
があり
solve
そう
this
だで
case.
が被害者の妻
Then, where's the victim's wife, Elle Miller, currently being
一
held?
旦庭
For
の
the
方
time
で
being,
休
I
んでる
told
よ
her
うに
to
言った
rest
よ。
out in the garden.
まだ家の
She
中にい
doesn't
る
seem
のは辛そう
comfortable
だったか
setting
ら。
foot in her house
そ
yet.
れが普通の反応だろう。
Natural reaction,
配
seeing her
偶者の
husband
こん
like
な
that.
姿。
気の毒だけど、傷ついた心が自
Unfortunately,
然
we
に
don't
癒え
have
るの
time
を
to
待って
wait
は
for
い
her
られないわ。
emotional wounds to heal naturally.
その人なら、
I'd say
ス
there's
テ
a
ップ
good
につい
chance
て
the
の情
woman
報を
knows
知っている可能
things
性
about
が
the
高
staff
い。
out
それ
there.
に残
And
酷
as
な
cruel
話で
as
す
the
が、
presumption may
彼
be,
女は
she's a
現在
prime
最も
suspect
有
for
利。
this.
私はこの近くの部屋
I'm
をもう
going to
少し調べたい。
investigate the neighboring rooms.
3人は庭に
You
行って
three should head
エル
out
ミ
to the
ラから
garden and
話を聞
question
いて
Elle
きて。
Miller.
一人で調べるんです
You're
か？
gonna investigate on your
え
own?
え。
I am. However, I'd
で
like
も
you
ブリアンは
you to check
外
and
に
see if
残っ
there's
てい
any
る足
other
跡
set
が
of
他にもない
footprints
か。
outside Brian.
外と中を分けて調
So
べるんで
we're
すね。
splitting the
わかりました。
investigation inside and outside between us. Understood.
倉庫のステップが使われて被害者
If
が
the
死んだの
staff
な
out
ら、
there in the storage
犯
shed
人
was
はそ
used
の
to
ステッ
kill the
プについて
victim, our
よく知
culprit
って
was
いた可能
probably
性
well
が高
versed
い。
in the skill each possessed.
エルミラ
Elle Miller,
ー。も
if
し
she
その人がス
knows
テッ
a
プに
lot
つい
about
て
the
詳
staff
しか
out
ったと
there.
したら、
Of course, the notebook might simply have notes on the staff items and it's
テ
not
ナさん、
magical or anything,
被害者の奥さん
like in
は
the
どんな
shed,
人です
that
か？
notebook. Detective Thena, what sort of person is the victim's wife?
そうだね。
Well, I did get a
少し
small
話を
chance
し
to
てみ
talk
た
with
け
her,
ど、
but I couldn't understand the
なん
word
だ
that was
か
coming out
ご
of her
それ
mouth.
はまだ
Is
事
that
件の
because
ショッ
she
クから
has yet
立
to
ち
get
直れ
over
てい
the
ないからじゃ。
trauma brought on by witnessing the
そ
crime?
れが
She looked like
普
she was
通
holding
そうに
herself
見えたんだ
together
よ
at
ね。
first
もう
glance.
うんざり。
I've had enough of
そんなに
this.
そこがいいなら、
If
一
you
生
like
そこ
that
で暮
place
ら
so
しな
much,
さい。
you can live there for the rest of your life. Isn't that the phrase we heard from the door? Like the memory.
あの
Hey, do you
もし
think the
かして
person shouting over by the
倉庫の
storage
前で
shed
な
is...
普通そうっていう言葉
I take
撤
back
回
what I
する
said
わ。
about her holding it together.
すみません。少し下
Pardon
がっ
me,
てい
but
た
could
だけ
you
ません
step
か？
back a bit?
ここに
This
近づ
area
か
is
れる
still
のはまだ
dangerous
危
to be
険です。
loitering around.
あなたも管理局の人
Are
で
you
すか？
another one from the bureau?
エルミラーさんですよね。
Miss L.
さ
Miller,
っ
I
きここで
presume. What were
何を
you
していらっ
saying
しゃっ
just
た
a moment
どう
ago?
いう意味ですか？
Whatever do you mean?
さっきここで
Just a moment ago we heard...
何をおっしゃっているの
I
か
have no idea what
全
you're
然わからない
implying.
そりゃまだ
That's
何も言っ
because
て
you
ないんだ
didn't
け
let me
ど、
finish.
実はミラーさんに
To be frank, Mrs. Miller, call me L.
実は
To be frank,
エル
L,
さん
we
に
have
お
a
尋
few
ねしたいこ
questions
と
we'd
が
like
あ
to
るんで
ask.
す。ここは危険なのでどこかで座って話すのはいかがですか？
As my colleague said, this place is dangerous. How about we sit down and have a chat somewhere?
そうしましょうか。
Would you like to?
庭の
We have a
東側
table
に
and
ガー
some
デンテーブ
chairs
ル
set
があ
up
る
at
の
the
で、
east side of the
そちら
garden.
に行き
Shall
ま
we
しょう。
head that way?
いいですね。
That sounds good.
ブリアン
Detective
さん、
Brian, has
倉庫の
anything
中
been
に
moved?
確認してみた
I
が、
checked, but I didn't
新し
see
く
any
できた
trace
跡
of
は
the
特にな
sort.
さそうだ。
Seems as though she was just yelling for yelling's sake. Yeah, that's weird because she said that in the memory. Like, is she possessed that she has to shout the same thing every day or
そうです
something?
か。
You think so?
それで、
So what is it
私
you
に
wish
聞き
to
た
ask
さっき
about?
いらっしゃった
We have
倉庫
some
の中に
questions
ある
regarding
ス
the
テップに
staff in
関
the
すること
shed
な
we
んです
were
が、
just in.
申し訳ないですが、
I do apologize,
ステ
but
ッ
I
プ
don't
に
know
関す
much
るこ
about
と
my
はよ
husband's
くわからな
collection,
くて、
so I don't think I'll be
お
much
役
of
に立て
help.
そうにな。
いえいえ、専
We're
門
not
家の
looking
よ
for
う
a
な答えを
professional
期待し
opinion
てい
or
るわけじゃ
anything.
ないんです。
Even the most basic
ほんの些
information would
細
be
な
a
こ
good
とでもいい。
start.
本当に残念ですが、
I'm terribly
知っ
sorry,
てい
but
る
I
こ
don't
と
know
が
the
何
first
一つ
thing
ない
about
んです。
staff.
でも、ご主人の趣味
It
だった
was
の
your
に、
husband's
知って
hobby
い
to
ることが
collect
少
it.
し
Are
も
you
ないんでしょう
certain you
か。
know nothing about it?
もしかして
Perhaps the two
ご
of
結
you.
婚したことありますか？
Have you ever been married, sir?
僕ですか？
Me?
あ
No.
り、
それなら、
Then consider
こ
this a
の機会
learning
に知っておくと
opportunity.
いいですよ。
The key to happy marriage is keeping your nose
幸
out of
せ
your
な結婚
spouse's
生活。
affairs.
普
Huh?
通反対じゃないんですか？
Wouldn't most people say the
夫
opposite?
婦と言っても、
Even in
結
marriage,
局
a
は違う人間です。
relationship is between two separate
一緒に住
individuals.
んでみ
Once
る
the
と、
two
付き合っていた時には知らなかった気に障る部分を互いに
once
見
the
せ合う
two
ことに
come
な
to
り
live
ます。
together, they begin to show each other all the unpleasantries they were able to keep hidden when they were courting.
そういうところを見て
As
しま
they
うと
do, all the infection they had
愛
built
情
up
でいっ
pops
ぱい
like
だ
a
った
bubble.
僕に
Out of
相手
those
の熱狂的な
unpleasantries,
趣味
nothing
ほ
is
ど
more
口
of
で触るも
putting
のが
than a
ないんです
husband's crazy hobbies. Before
ステップの
staff,
前に
it
は
was rare
珍しい
minerals.
石を集めて
I
いた
thought
ん
I
で
was
すが
gonna lose my
一
mind
日
with
中その
how
話
he
しか
would
しない
go
の
on
がお
and
かしくなりそう
on
でした
about them all
そ
day.
の時に決めたんです
That was when I put my foot
お
down.
互いに
I made the
相手の
decision
趣味
that
について
personal
は
hobbies
関わ
would
らない
remain
ように
just
す
that,
るって
personal. Thus is quite the given that I know nothing of staff.
そうしてからは
After that decision, my husband and I grew closer.
周りから羨ま
Others
しがら
grew
れる
envious of the harmonious marriage we were able to maintain. Do you see now? I get your point that you know nothing about the staff at least.
今のはノートが悪かったよ
It's partially your fault she went on like that. No, she lost her husband today. You have to consider a person's emotional state before you toss out your
は
questions.
い
Right.
悲しんでいるようにはあまり見えないけど
She doesn't seem to be grieving all that much. Yeah.
それでは
Well then, could you give us a statement regarding the time and circumstances of your
こ
coming
ちら
upon
の
the
承
body?
知しておりますが
I know it must be hard on you, but it would be a great help.
それは
Statements?
もうあちらの方にお話ししましたけど
Already told everything to your colleague here.
あ
What were you were talking about? I was
さっきの
listening, but
新しく思い出したこととか
isn't there anything you'd like to
あり
add?
ません
No.
さっきお話ししたのが全てです
I told you
私
everything.
は
I witnessed the very moment my
夫
husband
が
died.
死ぬ瞬間を見ました
テナさんどうしてこんな重要な話をしてくれなかっ
Detective
たんです
Tena,
か
why didn't you share such an important piece of evidence with us?
それがね
About that,
あなたも聞いたらわかるよ
you'll understand when you hear it from
何
her.
か理由があるんだ
And
な
there's a reason behind your actions.
奥さん
Ma'am,
お
I'm
手数をおか
sorry
け
to
して
be
申
such
し
a
訳あり
bother,
ません
but
が
could you
さっき
repeat
してくださっ
everything
た
you
というお
told
話
her
を
for my
仕
sake?
方ないですね
If I must, listen more carefully this
今度
time.
はちゃんと聞いてください5時に倉庫で夫と
I
話
was
しまし
having a
た
conversation with my husband in front of the shed at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, like, really early on in the morning.
夫はいつも通り倉庫
My
の中
husband,
にい
as
て
usual, was inside. So
私は
she's
倉庫の
lying
中
about
に
all
入
of
ら
it.
ずドアに寄りかか
I
ってい
didn't
ました
bother to go inside, choosing to lean on the door instead. So, okay, all of her
話し終わって
statements seem like she's
私は
lying.
立ち去ろうと向こうを向いた時
We finished our conversation, and just as I was turning to leave,
夫が焦った様子
I
で
heard my
私
husband
を呼
call
ぶ
to
声
me
が
with
聞こえ
great
ました
urgency in his voice.
それで
I
後
turned
ろを
back
振
to
り返っ
him,
てみると今のような状態
and
に
there
なっ
he
ていたん
was
で
in
す
such a state.
はいこれ
Here, her testimony.
ものすごい陳述だな
That was one doozy of a statement, and every word of it was accompanied by abnormal
傍
heartbeats.
から見ると冷静
She
に見え
seems
る
so
けど
composed, but she's
かなり
really quite
動揺して
shaken
る
up
よ
about this.
夫が死んだんだから
It was her husband who died after all. Or maybe she's lying like about most of it.
こんな陳述なら
It's no wonder
テナ
such
さ
a
んが困
statement
惑する
came
の
as a
も
shock
無理
to
はあり
you,
ませんね
Detective Sena.
ほら見なさい
Told
多
you.
分事件の
Perhaps
ショ
it's
ッ
the
クで記
trauma
憶が
brought
混乱
on
してい
by
る可能性
witnessing
が
what she
高いと
did
思うが
that's distorting her memories like that.
この事件にステッ
But
プが
with
関わっ
staff
ている
playing
以
a
上
role in this
こんな
case,
陳
even
述
such
で
a
も無視
statement
する
cannot
わけに
simply
は
be
いかない
ignored.
もしか
Besides,
す
we
ると
can't say for
精
certain
神
she's
異
not
常を
feigning
演じているの
insanity.
かもしれないし
それもそうですね今まで扱ってきた事件でも理解でき
True,
ない
I've seen
陳
my
述は
share
多か
of
ったですし
a fair share of statements that don't make much sense in the cases I've taken thus
だ
far.
けど本当に
But
た
there's
だ
a
の作り
possibility
話
she's
って可
speaking
能
utter
性もあるじゃ
nonsense,
ない
right? If that were the
こう
case,
いう場この陳述が
we
本
would
当
need
か
to
どうか
find
は
out whether she
っ
spoke
き
the
りさせる
truth or
必要
not,
がある
right?
と思う
ひとまず
To start,
陳述書
shall we
を
take
詳
a
しく見
closer
直
look
そう
at her statements?
異常心拍を参考にするのは
Making
難
use
し
of
い
the
だろうが
abnormal heartbeats is a big ask.
もし陳述内
But
容に
if I
おか
can
しな
find
ところ
something
があ
odd
れ
about
ば
it, there's a good
その
chance
陳
the whole
述は本
statement
当
is
でない可
false.
能性が高くなる
So we don't have her staffer file yet. I was having a conversation with my husband. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Wait. Why is the time like this? I guess it's because yeah, it matches 5 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock. Her footprints were there. It's just like, why is it 2 o'clock? Oh no, it doesn't mean it's been moved. That's when the So as usual, my husband. Wait. Let's go back. Okay, pin this. Grab this. It doesn't look. Is it going inside? No. No, his footprints are inside. Okay. I didn't bother going inside, choosing to lean on the door instead. Yeah, her footprints aren't here. Whose footprints are these? Fuck. Always keep it pinned. I don't like the pinning mechanics of this game. It should be slightly, I don't know, more user-friendly. It's not like the worst thing ever. Door. I turned and leave. My husband called to me with great urgency in his voice. Turned back to him and there he was in such a state. How about like there's no sound of him shouting or anything, because here victims heard shouting word clean. No, I heard my husband called him with great urgency. No, I guess he... Can we like choose two statements here that seem contradictory? Where's the body there? If he was inside the shed. Let's see. I don't know, let's just get a hint. It's late. Okay, so here. Yeah. So these documents fingerprints window. Oh, is that there? I didn't go inside. Let's see. Is that the discrepancy? That doesn't. Ah, okay.
エルさん、倉庫に入らなかっ
Miss,
たと
you
おっしゃ
said
いまし
you.
たか？
It's not Miss. It's Mrs. As you said, El Son. That's correct. That's bad translation. You said you didn't go inside the shed,
え
right?
え
That's right.
夫から勝手
He
に
was
入るな
always
と言われ
telling
て
me
いま
not
した
to
し、
frolic around in there,
私も
as if
その中
I
にあ
had
るも
any
のを見るの
interest
が
in
嫌だ
looking
った
at
の
the
で、
items he had stored
そ
inside.
れはおかしいですね。
That's odd.
それならどうして
If that's the case, how
倉
did
庫
your
の窓に
fingerprints
あなた
get
の
on
指紋が
inside
残っ
of
てい
the
たんです
window
か？
of that shed?
勘
Ah,
違いされましたね。
I believe you got the wrong idea.
はい。
Excuse
確か
me?
に
I'm sure
窓
my
には私の
fingerprints
指
were
紋
on
が
that
残っていた
window,
でしょうね。
but I didn't step foot in
ですが、
that shed to make them.
詳しく説明していただけま
Would
す
you
か？
like to explain how that might be?
できれば陳述とし
If
て
possible, with an official
い
statement.
え、
No, no, no,
別
it's
に
not
そ
as
んな込み入った
convoluted
話じゃありま
as
せ
to
ん。
require a
昨
statement.
夜、
A rather
頭
upsetting
に来る
event
ことがあ
occurred
った
last
から
night,
か、
so I woke up early
朝
this
早く
morning,
目が覚め
decided
て
to
しまっ
clean
た
that
ので、
old shed.
倉庫を
Not
掃
the
除したん
inside,
で
of
す。
course, but the outside. Ah.
倉庫の中は毎
He
日掃
cleaned
除
the
してるの
inside of
に、
the shed every day,
どうして
but
窓
why
枠
wouldn't
は
he
その
have
まま
been
にして
bothered
いた
to
のか。
clean the windowsill?
埃が溜まっているのを見たら我慢できなくな
I
る。
couldn't stand to see the layers of filth that he had let build
結
up.
局気持ちを抑えきれず、
I couldn't stand it any longer, so I
窓
gave the
ガラス
window
から
a
窓
good
枠まで
cleaning,
きれい
glass
に
and
掃除を
frame.
しました。
I even reached in to get the
内側
inside
にも
seal.
銅を
That's
入
why
れて
it's
拭いたの
natural
で、
for my brains to be
当然
inside.
指紋が残っているでしょう。でも、
But then he
夫は
had the
それを
nerve
見
to
て
get
怒り出
angry
したん
that
です。
I did that, which led to a
それで
small
少
argument.
し喧嘩になり
After
まし
that,
た。
well, I told you what
ノー
happened.
ト今の陳述どう思う？
Note, what are you thinking about this statement? Do you think she was telling
エ
the
ルさん
truth?
が倉庫を
Do
掃
we
除
have
し
any
たか
clear
どう
evidence
か、
to support Miss
そ
Miller's
れをはっ
claim
き
that
りさせ
she
られる資
did
料があるだろうか。
clean the shed? Well, is there evidence that the shed is clean? Miller claims that the fingerprints she left inside the storage shed were from her cleaning from the outside. Do we have any evidence to support or refute this claim? She is wearing gloves, but of course, maybe she wasn't wearing gloves then. Ah, victim was heard shouting the word clean. I guess, yeah, he's complaining she was cleaning. I think her statement may be true.
本当だと思います。
Maybe one of the staff is triggered by the word clean or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's triggered by the smell of some soap or something. I think her statement may be true.
どうして？
Why's that?
多分
Matching Detective Brian will know why that is. When the sergeant conducted her memory survey, there was memory
被害
left
者の
of,
叫び声が残っていたと
of the
言ってい
victim
ました。
yelling, right?
そういえば
That
そうだ
does ring a bell. I see. There was a single word she was able to make out.
ええ、掃除でした。
Yeah, clean. The victim got angry that Mrs. Miller went and cleaned the room without asking
思
him.
春期の男の子みたいだね。
Acting like a teenager going through puberty, if
こ
you
の
ask
手がかり
me.
は
This clue, it fits with her claim that our victim barred his wife from entering his storage area. I really don't get it. If two people are in love, wouldn't they want to share more about themselves? No. Love and dependence are two very different things. I read that in a magazine. I still don't get it at all, but if the victim lashed out, I understand why Mrs. Miller didn't know anything about staff. That's as far as we can trust Miss Miller's statement, though. I have no choice but to doubt what comes after. Then we are in a big of a pickle here. Oh, Sergeant. She knows nothing about the staff in there, but her statement is garbage. In conclusion, there is no information to be gained from L. Miller. So what now? We are out of places to investigate to. We have two options open to us. One would be to hand this off to materials. That's the department of the Bureau that specializes in analyzing staff. After all, it's dangerous for us to go poking around a bunch of unauthorized staff when we don't know what skills they hold. It would be easier to leave that to the professionals. But if we do that, this case will be completely out of our hands. No matter what information materials may glean off this case, it will be property of the Bureau. We won't see any staff being mishandled again, but the information they uncover will never see the light of day, meaning no one involved will know what happened. Not the best of choices. What's our other option? We question someone else who may know something about the staff the victim possessed. Do we have someone we could question? The victim kept everything a secret from his wife. Well, what do you think, Notes? Someone who might know about the staff victim had in his possession. Do we have any information of such a person? Well, the mystery person whose footprints and fingerprints are there. Dun, dun. Someone who might know about the staff on display. I can think of one person. Oh, of course you can. Who is it? I don't know who, but it makes it all the more suspicious. Eh? Of course, the other set of footprints inside the storage shed. That's right. Besides the victim's footprints, we found one set of unidentified prints inside. True, but how do you know that this person knows enough about the staff? The victim barred his wife from entering her storage shed, which is why her footprints are nowhere to be seen. However, our unidentified person's prints are all over the inside of the building. Approaching staff without knowing about this skill, that's incredibly risky. If there's someone willing to approach the staff on display without a moment's hesitation, it's incredibly likely that said person knows about the staff's skill. Logical. Yeah, super logical. I see. Well, I have an idea of whose footprints those might be. I've been absolutely beside myself, so I must have forgotten. We had a visitor last night. I couldn't tell you it's the exact time. We were just about to climb into bed and go to sleep. Dear me, how could I forget a thing like that? Who was it? Willie Montague. Friend of my husband and a fellow collector. By collector you mean staff collector, of course. Come to think of it, my late husband's interest in collecting staff was probably influenced by that man. There's only one set of footprints left at night. I believe it would be correct to assume that those footprints were left by Willie Montague. Would you perhaps know his address? Indeed, I do. He lives quite close. Thank you for the
それじゃ
information.
あ決まりね。
And that settles it.
その
Shall we
足
go
跡の
find the
持ち
owner
主
of
を
those
探
prints
して
and
や
question
やこ
him?
しい事件は自物
I
に
was
任
leaning
せて
towards handing this
こっ
to
ち
of
が
the
訳して
materials
休
and
んで
taking a
もくれ
break,
なか
but
っ
it
たの。
seems we must be
めんど
bothered
く
to
さい
carry
笑
on.
わせないでよ
Don't
今
make
ま
me
でそん
laugh.
なこと
I've
なか
never
った
seen
く
you
せに
hand off a single
必
case.
ず反対する人
There's
が
always
一人
been
はい
one
たから
person vehemently opposed to the idea.
それじゃ次
Well
の目
then,
標
it
は
seems our
ウィ
next
リー・モンテ
objective
ギュ
is
ーか
to
ら
find
倉庫に
Willie
ある3つ
Montague
のステップについて聞き
and
出すこと
find
で
out
すね
about the 3 pieces of staff we have in this storage shed.
どうかされましたか
What's wrong?
そういえば
Hearing you
一
say
つ
that, I
気にな
just
る点
realized
がありまし
something.
た。
I only see 3 pieces of the
倉庫に
staff
は
in there.
3つのステップしか見当たりませんが、
So one has been stolen.
前に夫が
I remember him
ステップ
saying
を買った
something when
時
he
の話をし
purchased
てい
those
たんです
pieces. He said
運よ
something
く
like,
珍しいス
"But
テ
luck,
ップを4つも
you
手
happen
に
upon
入れ
4
た。
pieces of staff this
ま
rare."
あ
Of course, we
その
had
時は
just
引っ
moved
越しの
here
せい
and
でバ
may,
タバタ
I
して
may
いた
have
ので
misheard him. You
私
know
が
that
聞きます
clatter.
ステップが4つ
4 pieces of staff.
ということは
If what she
倉庫にあ
says
る
is
もの
true,
の
could
他
there
に
be one more
もう
piece
一
of
つステッ
staff
プがある
floating
のか
around somewhere? Yeah, it's the slice body in half and teleport half of it away staff. Dartford Road. So we are going somewhere. Yeah, of course, to Willie Montague.
車の中ってこんなに快適だったっけ
I guess I'm gonna end the stream here though. It's late, I'm getting tired, and at least we did the really preliminary investigation stuff now. So I'm Adventure Argonaut. I thank you for watching, and bye bye.